Man, real quick, before we get started on anything, even saying hello.
It's too late.
All right, well, hello.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no. Nicolas Cage has a new movie coming out called Arcadian. And I don't know if you've seen this trailer yet.
Eddie Arcadian, like The Last Dragon Arcadian?
No, the synopsis I read said it's somewhere between A Quiet Place and Critters 2.
Man, that's a broad spectrum there.
It is, and
so it's like Easter movie.
It looks amazing.
It's an Easter movie.
It is an Easter movie.
Okay, because Critters 2 is a fucking Easter movie.
But yeah, I saw a trailer for it. I was pretty excited. He's also coming out with another movie this year called Long Legs.
Okay,
yeah.
That looks creepy as shit. I didn't even know he was in it. I saw the first trailer and I was like, oh, it's a creepy family photo and some weird 911 call and noises.
Daddy Long Legs.
It's just called Long Legs.
Damn. I saw two things today that made me happy. Well, one thing made me happy, and one of them made me really sad. Emmett Walsh passed away. Blade Runner, fucking Blood Simple.
That guy was still alive?
Yeah, the picture that she showed me, I was like, holy crap. He lived a hell of a life.
He always had that voice that I'd always do an impression of, where he was always like, hey, what do you say there? Like, I need the old Blade Runner.
Yeah, he passed away, and then the new trailer for this teaser trailer for Alien Romulus looks sick.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's Fede Alvarez who did Evil Dead, and
sweet.
He must have talked to them into being like, we're making a horror movie, guys. I mean, it's only a minute and 15 seconds long, but even at the end, it brings the old music back in from the old trailer. It looks hardcore. Like,
sweet.
I was like, oh, okay.
It's going to be like that Star Wars Episode 7, I guess, just all nostalgia. And hits you right in the feels, and then you're like, wait, I've seen this before. Fuck.
No, I don't think they're going to pull like a New Hope, for the Force Awakens or anything like that.
The last Alien movie I watched was Prometheus.
Wow. Covenant was better than I thought than Prometheus.
Yeah.
Covenant came second. That's the second one of the prequel travesty movies. It's like I think Alien versus Requiem, Alien versus Predator Requiem is better than the first movie.
I agree.
They just take all the crap that I hate, like most of the human bullshit and stuff that just doesn't make sense. It's like watching Highlander 2. It's like, what is going on? What are you doing?
Speaking of
just
aliens,
Renegade cut.
Yeah. Renegade cut is better.
Speaking of aliens, I read that James Cameron is doing a 4K of Terminator 2.
Okay.
And
those aren't aliens.
Well, no, but he's using AI to clean it up.
Man.
I don't know. You see that 90 CGI in 4K.
No, man. No, he's using AI to clean up Terminator. Think about it.
No, it's bad. Katie had something. What did you see today?
Yeah, it was that Late Night with the Devil movie that just came out. It's getting good reviews. Except one review I read was a guy who's like, if you care about artists and how movies are made, you won't like this movie because it uses AI art throughout the entire thing.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was just creeped out because, I mean, what if Skynet is awake and it's just like, look at this movie. Nothing like this could ever happen. It changes the plot, like where Skynet's actually the good guy. And then we're all like, well, I don't even remember seeing this. Must be one of those Mandela effect things.
Things are bad, man. I follow Alex Proyas, the director of like Dark City and The Crow.
Yeah.
He is super into AI, and he just did like movie shorts, nothing but AI. So you follow his Facebook page, and he's just like, it's coming. And he's not like, I don't know if he's like just being like dystopian, like, fuck it, here we go. We're all dying anyways. And is it embracing it that way? Or if it's kind of like satire? I don't know. It's weird looking at his page, but he's just like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And I was like, this is bad. Like whole movies, like
yeah.
It's
not good. Scripts, no director, none of that. It's like, it's all fucking in the computer, and you just tell it what to do, and you tell it what to look like, and then it's creating the movies. And the stuff that he's showing is very small and short, but that's nothing. That's how it all starts. That's how Skynet started, man.
And they just base it off like stuff you punch in yourself.
It's
fucking it's a storyboard
terrifying.
And prompts,
Yeah.
Real artists.
Yeah. I mean, I had an artist at Gore Club one night talking about like, you want to write a book. Tell me 3 things in the book that you want to write. And I told him, and he's like, he said it into his phone, and it just started typing fucking paragraphs.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this, man. But the reality is we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like people who love true art, like artists not being able to have jobs. Because why should an album cover be made by somebody who's going to spend your hard-earned money when you can literally just make it yourself, like with the deicide,
Deicide, Deicide and Pestilence put out those two horrible-looking album covers.
They're out. They're horrible now, man, but they won't be in 5 years. Fuck all this. Well, welcome to the Gore Club podcast, everybody. I'm Steve Vessell.
And Deathmetal Dave.
I'm Ace.
And tonight we're going to be digging into the Friday the 13th franchise. I wore my sweater.
Oh, it's very nice of you.
Yeah, are you guys prepared to be hated?
Sure.
Oh, man. People enjoyed the Nightmare on Elm Street episode that we did on ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I don't know if they're going to enjoy this one.
It was a little easier to rank Nightmare on Elm Street movies than this.
Because they're all goofy.
And because they're not fucking 12 of them.
Yeah, that too. But they're not, besides like the first two, the rest of them are just like fun.
Next time we'll just do all of every zombie movie ever made, and we'll rank them.
Yeah, I wear my pretty. So this is a vintage freaking Pamela Voorhees sweater that took me years to find, and it's the wrong color, but this is the exact same style and year that she wore.
You have to get some.
You know how hard this fucking thing was to find?
Did you rob some old ladies?
There's so
coffee
many
table?
There's so many knockoffs and versions are like, oh, I make them, and then I'm like, that pattern's not right, or that's the stitch is not right. This is it. I was like, I'm going to jerk off all over my computer screen. Don't shake your head at me, Katie.
You just have to get some blue dye for it.
Yeah, and dyeing these old fisherman sweaters is a pain in the ass, so it's going to be fun.
So it's in the works, is what you're saying.
Yeah, next episode I'll just wear it again. It'll be purple though, because I'll fuck it up. It will be like a shamrock shake green.
Yeah.
God, this is going to be fun. 12 movies, and we are including the remake, or whatever you want to call it, reboot, remake. It's
It's
2000.
It's technically a
2009,
sequel if you want to take, since it encompasses all four. We'll get to that one. We're not going to rate the Jasons. Oh, no, we are going to rate some of the Jasons. I think Dave talked about maybe wanting.
Well,
to
maybe.
Yeah.
We can get to that if we have time.
We won't do the television show. Dun, dun. The Friday the 13th, the series.
Oh man, how about that?
Nice.
Oh.
I'm not going back and watching those.
Hell no.
We can just.
I'm just saying we're not going to include like every freaking thing. We're not going to include the soundtracks. We're not. This is strictly the movies, and we're going to try to be as quick as possible because there's 12 of them and there's 3 of us, and technically 4. And Katie's going to jump in and tell us how much that our opinion sucks. So it's great.
All right, so where do we start?
Jesus, should we start at the worst?
Oh, absolutely. Worst.
Okay.
Or bottom to top.
Bottom to top.
Oh, who wants to take this fucking
I'll go
rant?
for it.
Oh, no.
Jason X. It's in space. I fucking hate that trope. Like everything went to space. You had Leprechaun in space and Pinhead in space. Although the movie did have some fun things. People got frozen and they got what was it?
She got frozen.
Liquid nitrogen or something. I don't know. Sort of like
Catherine
in Terminator.
Heigl knockoff.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
her name, yeah.
And then they trapped him in VR, and he beat the shit out of those women in the sleeping bags.
Yeah.
So that was giggly. It made me laugh a little bit. But
Why is this on the bottom? Besides, they hate the space trope.
wait, do you have to ask?
Well, okay. I'll be honest. I like the Hellraiser in space. I like Hellraiser 4. I think.
that one
I think Leprechaun 4 is better than Leprechaun 2.
Yeah, for sure.
I like Leprechaun 3 and 4 better than I do 2 and 1. Isn't that weird? But fuck it.
Oh yeah.
Don't look at me
I
like that,
agree with
Dave.
that.
I would have liked to have seen Machete in space. Damn it.
Well, no, that's
Remember how they promised that as
That
a
he
joke?
kills in space.
That's an action. That's an action film. This is supposed to be a horror film, and like he goes to space and
Yeah.
he gets what what are they called?
He gets David Cronenberg to the beginning. It's great.
Well, yeah,
There's some good points about the movie. You know what? I'll discuss my positives when it comes to my turn about putting it, but it's on the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely on the bottom.
Oh, man.
I remember like I think this was the first movie I illegally downloaded, and Ace, you know about that, right?
Sure.
And I just remember watching it and be like, man, this is bullshit. Like, this isn't. I mean, it was fun, I guess, but like, yeah, it was a cash grab. They're like, all right, we got to make this before we lose the license. What can we do? I know. Let's put them in space. Oh, how are we gonna get them there? Fuck it, we'll figure it out. Just get them there. Put them on the ship.
Terrible.
Terrible idea. Wait, did you have that one last too?
Oh, well, my 12 is also Jason X.
Good. Back me up here then.
I wrote on there, my first thing I wrote down was, I hate this movie. And don't be like one of those people. But what about when they smash the girl's face with the ice on the face? That's what everybody says when they talk about this movie. What about when they smash one scene in 90 minutes that does not make this movie good? Like this. And when you watch the trailer, it has like this that stupid song in it from like Drowning Pool.
Let the bodies in the room.
And it's like right before that starts, you're watching the trailer, and that robot woman in the movie is like, "You might want to run right now." And then it's like, "Let the bodies hit the floor." And
We're going to get sued. We have to stop talking about it.
oh God, so eye rolling. And like, then you like watch the movie, and then he becomes like super Jason, and he looks like fucking super fucking Teenage Mutant. He's like a super shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You're trying to say he looks like Casey Jones?
No, he looks like the
super
fucking
shredder, man.
He looks like super
Kevin
shredder
Nash.
from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
and that's like the same concept. He's like, oh no, he's super Jason now. Like, I don't know. There's like no redeeming qualities about this movie. And it came out.
God damn.
It came out when I was in high school, and I also remember I was sitting in the computer lab, and like these two nerds that I was in school with, like, "Hey, watch this! I downloaded Jason X," and I was like, "Oh!" And then I watched the scene where they smashed the girl's face, and I was like, "Oh, this movie would be awesome!" And then I watched it, and I was like, "This sucks."
Yeah, I mean, this movie was literally a filler. They couldn't get Freddy versus Jason made, so they're like, "We got to do something."
Yeah, I see
so
what you're saying.
made Jason X, and it feels like a filler. It just feels like they were just riding the wave of everything in space.
Yeah, that was a weird time. And so before I get into my worst of the bunch is so I approached these movies. I had in my brain I had two different ways to look at it. I could go the nostalgia way, and I think it would be a completely different list, or I could be more of the cinephile that I am. So what I tried to do is kind of did more of a mix, but it came out like 60-40 of me being like kind of hard on them. And still being like, man, this was fun. So, no, Jason X is not my least favorite.
Steve saw them all in order on release day.
I seriously watched every single one of these this week. I put Katie through that too. And we finished the last one right before you guys showed up. So I am prepared for this shit.
Well, then,
and
lay it
my
on me.
least favorite one is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, boo.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but dude, it's you want to talk about nonsensical. And originally, when it first came out, I was stoked, man. I got the Gore Zone, I got the Fangoria. We got as much crap as we possibly could at the time that you could get back then when it came to Friday the 13th or little horror movies, but like it was mostly magazines. And we were just prepared, and we went and saw it, and I thought it was great. And then as the years go by, I was like, my taste in movies is just hopefully better, but I guess I'm just more shrewd on it. Here's the problem, dude. You got a fucking shriveled up, awful fucking Jason from Part 7, since I just rewatched all of them almost in order. And I know that I'm trying to be more, that's what I'm trying to, like, instead of being like fun about it, I was just like, how do you go from something that's in most people's top 3, sometimes top 4, it's just Part 7. I said most. Don't look at me like that, guys. We haven't gotten to this list yet. So from the John Carbickler, with just the way he looks, which makes that movie Part 7 so badass.
Yeah.
To this, all of a sudden his clothes are healed. He's a shriveled mess. He's just covered in toxic sludge. Welcome to fucking. Let's not talk about the fucking boat that goes to the ocean. That doesn't go down just like a canal. It goes to the Atlantic Ocean and then to New York.
I mean, the SS Lazarus.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Do you know what the Lazarus was?
Did he have Wolverine's fucking like healing factor? Like everything is different on this goddamn thing.
Lazarus was resurrected from the dead in the Bible.
I know the goddamn. I know what the whole point is.
You know what? I had to sort of jump in here and say that my number 11 is Jason Takes Manhattan, and I wholeheartely agree with Steve. If this had been set in space, it would have been a toss up between this and Jason X.
God,
like
look, man, mine's so much higher.
it's like all right. It's what's the best way to describe it?
It's a pile of fucking toxic waste, which is what he gets dumped into and turns into a little boy with hair.
Yeah, the ending, like the ending of every other movie, it's like, all right, so this happens, and then that sets up the next one, or this happens, and this, you know, he's at the bottom of a lake or something like that. Oh, this person brought him back to life, and it makes sense. And then this one is just like, wait, he drowned again.
He got knocked down by Daddy from Part 7.
Yeah,
and then that's it, right? And then all of a sudden now he gets electrocuted. But I don't want to include like the deleted scenes and the reshoots, all that stuff, because we know that it's actually there's some better parts now to those films. The theatrical, even like the uncut version, is like those stupid kids roll up in their yacht, in not the big Lazarus fucking fishing boat, whatever the hell that was, with the Admiral on it. And he's like, oh yeah, Camp Crystal Lake's around here. It's right there. And by the way, it's abandoned, overgrown, but completely lit up.
Yeah.
It's falling apart. Like the sign says Camp Listle Lake, but it's like it's completely lit up like fucking like Christmas. So Jason's having a good time over there with a party and doing a disco ball because he gets that later on in the goddamn boat. Oh my god, just everything about this movie. The more I watch it, the more I was just like, I'm really gonna be on. I cannot put this in my top 10. Oh, I can't put. Nope, this is number fucking 12. Holy shit! And then let's talk about when the dog has a hallucination with her about Jason in the porthole. Get the fuck out of here, man! I want to have fun. I like there's certain scenes in this movie, but then when I went back and watched those certain scenes I thought were cool, like the boxing scene where he's just punching a guy, and I'm gonna mention this again, where he's punching the monster in the face that's supposed to take high velocity pucks to the fucking face, and it just takes forever and it's dumb. And these are the kills that most people remember. The guitar kill, you don't even see it. You know how many off-screen kills are in this movie? She's one of them, and then you see later and her head's just a little bit banged up with some brain matter. That's not a good fucking scene. She's playing out of a karaoke machine. I thought she was the hottest chick in the bit. I was like, this is amazing. You go back and watch it now, I was like, fuck. This movie sucks. I'm going to throw some toxic waste on Jason's fucking head because we get told later, or like later on in the movie, that the sewers get flooded with toxic waste at midnight or whatever the fuck it is. By the way, when that happens and then they leave the sewer, it's fucking dawn. So it didn't take 6 hours to crawl up a ladder. Just the leaps in reality, the awful costume design, what Kane Hodder brought to that to that character in part 7 is just lost in this movie. He just every time you see him, he looks like he just did a lap around a fucking pool and he's like, okay, I'm ready. It's like, it just gets on my nerves. We can get to the whole like Jason's thing. My God, I could go on about this, man.
Are you okay, Steve? I don't even feel like I need to say anything. He hit all my points on the head.
Don't forget, he's a teleporting Jason in this fucking movie.
Well, yeah, he can't run, obviously. He's out of breath.
But every time you see him go down the hallway, he's on the other hallway in the boat. And then he's on the deck. No, he's on the mast. And it's like, I can totally. This is where it all started. Where people are like, "Well, he just appears everywhere." It's like that's not how it was in all the other films, except for Part 7 because of editing issues, and that because of like all the deleted scenes that we now know. It's like this makes no sense, and then when you see the deleted scenes, you know why. This movie was filmed exactly the way it was supposed to be filmed, and it was filmed by a fucking moron, by the way.
Ace, what's your
11? 11, Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah?
I talked about how much I hated this movie.
Wait, one more thing. Leonard Maltin said this was the best of the series, by the way. Fuck part 8. Carry on, my wayward man.
Number 11, Freddy versus Jason, which was a development hell remake that shit the bed. And these are the worst looking versions of both characters. I hate how Freddy looks with like the makeup looks worse than the first one. Jason looks stupid because they recast him. I don't know why you wouldn't just have Kane Hodder come back, but all of a sudden he's like a foot taller and he's just all burnt looking. I guess because he's been in hell.
He's been working out, man.
But
duh, I just said Jason goes to hell.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's it just makes, as far as like, and they're even trying to do continuity at this point. But, like, I don't know. There's nothing good about this. The stupid soundtrack with, like, all the shitty nu metal bands at the time. And, like, I went through a whole thing when we did the Nightmare rankings. But, yeah, I just do not like this movie. And they filmed it like it's not even a horror movie. There's nothing even scary in it. It's just like they filmed it like an action movie. And then it's like one of those things like, whoever wins, we lose. like something stupid like that.
I'm going to defend this movie later.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
No one even really, there's no winner or loser at the end of it because they both win. Like,
you know what?
Still alive.
Hold on. The audience was the winners.
Thank you, Dave.
We were the winners because we had been waiting for that fucking movie for a long time.
Like 20 years.
Yeah, that was supposed to be part 7, sir.
Yeah.
But
this was the first one I saw in the theater of both of these because
I did go to the theater, yeah.
Yeah, because when they stopped making these movies, I was like, I think when Jason Goes to Hell came out, I was like maybe in the 3rd grade and couldn't even go to the movies then.
I had a coworker ask me, who I rarely hang out with. He just knew I was a horror nerd. He's like, "You want to go see the new Freddy vs. Jason?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." I don't know who the hell you are. Don't roofie me. And we went, and I had a good time. But I enjoy that movie, man. Is it great? Is it fucking great? I think I got the Abbott and Costello meets the Frankenstein monster vibe / wrestling. Like once they're in that cabin and it's like, whoa, it's like they're powering up and it's ready to go. Mortal Kombat. I got the goofiness of it.
I got excited when I saw that.
It's like if Fast and the Furious was a horror movie or something.
And
just
I'm not
dumb.
You're not wrong. Ronnie, you directed this.
Yeah.
He kind of put the life back into the Child's Play franchise, and he did that with this. And I mean, the soundtrack is straight up new metal trash. It's fine.
Yeah.
We made a joke on that like episodes ago, back when Derek was still on the podcast. I'm not going to defend it yet, but I am going to defend it a little bit. But like, I mean. Yeah, I don't like the way that they redid Jason's look.
He's afraid of water.
I'm not a big. I don't care if they got. That was the worst.
I'm so scared of the water, even though I lived in it most of my adult life.
That's my biggest strike against this movie. Besides them not using Kane Hodder, but then when they didn't use Kane Hodder, besides him not breathing heavy, Ken Kersinger did a fine job.
Like,
I don't like the jacket Jasons, like any of them. I don't like.
That's what they
the
use.
Reboot.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather see the freaking the Jiffy Lube instant freaking oil change outfit he uses in Part 9.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
So my number 11 though is Jason Goes to Hell. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it.
That's funny because that's my number 10.
Jason Goes to Hell. It's like a video game that was. It's like a video game adapted from a comic book that never fucking existed. It's so bad. It's not as bad as whatever I just said. Takes Manhattan. Jason Goes to Hell is so bad, and I don't even think it's that bad because of the body jumping. It just makes no sense. They introduce new fucking things that nobody's ever heard about, and they act like it's supposed to be canon, and I don't accept it, man. Creighton Duke. I like.
Oh, dude, I love Creighton Duke.
I like Creighton Duke. I think Creighton Duke is completely fucking wasted in this movie. I would like to have seen I think the television show coming up soon. It would be great to have his character to do his own version, like his own series, just about Creighton Duke, because I think that character is awesome.
He just shows up in the woods like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Now apparently that guy's a piece of shit and would basically flash women all over the set. So fuck that. Yeah, I know, right? And I liked that guy as a kid. But let's see. Jason Goes to Hell.
What's wrong, Steve?
I'm trying.
Was it the part where Jason couldn't tell all the SWAT people were in the forest?
The final Friday.
I've got it. Makes zero sense. Insults its core audience. Fuck this body jumping, face shaving, bubble headed fuck in a Jiffy Lube outfit needs to oil. He needs an instant oil change in this movie because it's fucking awful. Directed Adam Marcus can go fuck himself. You can't tell what he says after the movie's made is true or not between him and Sean Cunningham about it. This is what Sean told me to do, and then Sean's like, well, this is what he did, and then I didn't know this. This motherfucker got kicked off the set because of how he treated the woman during a nude scene, and yes, the star of the fucking movie at the end of the movie. So Sean Cunningham had to come back, take over that scene. And then when they went back and looked at all of his shots from the editor's point of view, they had to reshoot almost 50% of the fucking movie.
Oh yeah, I think I read
fuck you,
that.
Adam Marcus.
Yeah.
And he's on the commentary track with Sean Cunningham. He's on all the DVD. But like when I found that out, it's like, what is going on? Like, how is this guy even? He's the youngest director they ever hired for this company to make a Jason. And he says he's an avid fan, but like, dude, you don't even know the lore. Yeah. If you're such a big fan, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to me, Demi?
He's trying to end it, and he did a good job because it went away for a while.
Oh my God. I remember as a kid thinking that the head of Jason looked really cool until I saw the movie, and I was like, why is he wearing a fucking, like I said, a Jiffy Lube jumpsuit that it's not connected to any other movie? And I tried to make sense of it, like, well, this is somebody he had to kill after the last movie where he obviously just turned into a baby. But if you read Marcus, Adam Marcus's notes about his idea is that this is Voorhees used the Necronomicon to bring Jason the Voorhees back from the dead to make him the Deadite so he could be a baby, walk back from fucking New York back to Crystal Lake
Uphill.
And become what he is.
Uphill both ways because it builds character.
It's fucking stupid. Jeez, I love the score. I love that they brought back John LeMay from the series. I liked the dinner scene. What's his name? I love that guy.
Leslie Jordan.
Leslie Jordan.
I think his scenes are great. I like this is the one movie where you go back and watch a lot of the deleted scenes, it makes way more sense. But it's like movie is such a fucking mess. And I try to be a fan. I'm a fan of Evil Dead. I'm a fan of Friday the 13th. I'm a fan of all the kills. I'm a fan of the Roadhouse chick at the beginning of the movie. The girl from Roadhouse is in the movie. There's so many things about this movie that I liked, but as overall, it's such a fucking slap in the face to Jason. For the Friday the 13th fans, Jason Voorhees fans, Kane Hodder fans, like people are like, oh, he looks great. It's like, when? At the beginning to the end.
What about when all the cops are in a circle pointing their guns at each other, but somehow they only hit Jason when they shoot him?
Yeah, Katie.
The bullets never cross.
Oh man, dude. And so when they're kissing each other and transferring the evil, it's supposed to be his actual heart leaving like in lumps into the next person. And then when oh my God, talk about the cops when he shows up and actually he's Jason possessed and he has a conversation. You remember that part?
Yeah.
Probably not, because it's fucking awful.
So what you're saying is he's just baby burden his heart over to other people.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And this is the ultimate movie of Jason shoving people, and I've never liked that part about Kane Hodder when he added that to the character. It's like, I could kill you and slice you around, but I'm going to shove you through maybe a window. I'm going to shove you down the hallway. I hate shoving Jason.
He's just playing with him, you know? Just toying with him, Steve.
The effects look great. K&B did a great job. I like the score.
There you go. See?
The score is actually really good.
Some plus sides. You see that?
Damn it,
the effects do look good. Oh man, that's crazy.
The Kandarian demon. I mean the Kandarian dagger. You know, even though it's like a Ruby's version instead.
Yeah.
I like that they slide the Necronomicon. He was like, people should see that and understand where I'm trying to take this movie. I was like, that makes no sense, buddy.
Yeah.
So sorry. And rant. I hate this movie.
I mean, I can't hate it that much. I mean, it is low on the list for me, but
oh my God,
I didn't.
John LeMay just spent 20 rounds of shooting Jason in the chest, and then when at the very end he punches him in the face again in a hockey mask that's made to take fucking high velocity pucks. Get the fuck out of here. Who writes this crap? Adam Marcus.
I was going to say, Adam. Well, the story was by a few people, so maybe he didn't. Maybe it was Dean Laurie or Jay Hughley.
Oh, man.
One of those guys.
The ending that everybody likes, go back and watch that shit. It looks like kitchen gloves covered in cake batter going up to grab him and pull him down. And then when the Freddy glove comes out, which we all know it's Kane Hodder's hand now, he grabs the mask, shoves it down, and then shoves it back up where you can see the mask in the sand. End of movie. Is like, so did the mask not go to hell? You never know.
You just hear,
sorry, Dave.
He's just a maskless person in hell. You just have to look at his face.
I'm a heated fan. I love this franchise, and I thought I loved it much more than I mean, I love it. Maybe I love it so much. That's why these fucking movies make me so mad.
It's your rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
He's just going back and being like, oh, this was bullshit the whole time. Look, I didn't. The only movie on this list that I really disliked was Jason X.
Damn, dude.
Like, Jason Takes Manhattan, like I said, you said enough for me. I could take it or leave it. I don't hate it. And this one, I didn't hate either. Saw it in the theater. I thought it was fun, but it wasn't the best.
Did you watch it this week? You would have been like, what the fuck?
No, I don't have time for bullshit like this. I knew it was low on the list. I've got other things to do, Steve. I've got very important things.
If I would have went off nostalgia, I would have been like, I love that movie. I remember all these cool things about it, but I forgot all the awful shit that's in this movie. The part where Jason literally shaves somebody's face to transfer his evil. I'm like, Jason literally went and bought shaving cream or pulled it out of somebody's old medicine cabinet, buttered up this fucking guy's face, and then shaved him with a straight razor to kiss his heart into his mouth.
Look, man,
fuck this movie.
If you hadn't been able to shave since 1981, you would you'd take your time too. It's not that bad, Steve. I mean, there's silly things. Like I said, there's a whole SWAT team out there that Jason just doesn't see in the beginning. And they're like, oh shit. But I thought the eating of the heart was really cool. It was like very unexpected. I remember laughing at it when
Jesus
in the theater. I was like, what the hell's going on?
When Creighton Duke says, remember me? You know how you're supposed to remember him? Creighton Duke's backstory is that him and his girlfriend were in a canoe on Camp Crystal Lake. Jason knocks over the canoe, takes the girl down to the end of the bottom of the lake, and that's it. That's like me trying to say, you remember me and you hit and run me like 10 years ago? Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit.
Well, some people
carry on. Everybody just deleted this podcast from their subscriptions.
Maybe we should move on.
Maybe we should tell Steve to go get drunk.
Look, I like the character of Creighton Duke. I do agree
too,
with you.
man.
I do agree with you that they should have done more, and they could have done more, and maybe not killed him so fast. But overall, the movie's not that bad. It was enjoyable. It falls.
enjoyable.
It falls into
It is dumb
It
fun.
falls into the '90s horror films, the '90s slasher films. It fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Look at what else came out around that time.
I own the book Hate, Kill, Repeat. It's a big mess. It's a Jason Voorhees story.
So overall, I didn't think it was that bad. Granted, it is my number 10.
Yeah.
But that means there are 9 that I think are better for reasons or another. So I'm not going to rant on this movie. It's a 10.
Oh, it's a 10?
It's a 10 as in it's
Out of 12.
well, it's no wait, it would be backwards then. Never mind. It's not that good, but yeah. Out of all the movies, it's my 10th favorite.
You're so positive.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
Ace.
My 10 is the remake.
Nice. Yeah.
I saw this.
It's understandable.
Hard to disagree.
I saw it in the theater. They take 3 movies and shove them into one movie, which I do not enjoy. I'd like at this point, if you're going to remake the movie, I don't need to see another origin story of Jason that took 2 movies to make to get to the mask, but somehow they shove all of that into like 20 minutes. And the movie and the remake, he's like running. He's like, I got underground. That's the one with the underground. Like tunnels.
Yeah, the tunnels. It explains a lot. How's he getting around? Well, he's taking a shortcut.
I wish he had those tunnels on the boats when he's teleporting all over the different places.
Yeah,
in Manhattan. Well, he did in Manhattan. He had Suez.
And it's another one like I saw the background on how I rated all mine was I did mine based on like watchability. Like if I'm like sitting in my house on a weekend and I'm like, I want to watch a Friday the 13th movie, and I go downstairs to the shelf and I go to the shelf, which I own every one of these except for Freddy vs. Jason because I hate it. And I even have a copy of Jason X because I won it recently, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But if I'm going down to the old shelf and I'm like, which one of these movies do I want to watch here? I'd base this purely on watchability, whether no matter how dumb it might be. If it's like low on this list, I'm 12 is I'm never going to ever watch this movie ever unless somebody forces me to watch it, which I did last weekend.
Yeah, you did. I'm sorry.
But and so like by the time you get to the remake, it's like if I'm at somebody's house and they're watching it, like I guess I'll watch it or something. Or like if it was on TV, maybe I wouldn't change the channel, but I'm never ever just going to pick this up and watch it.
So you're saying if it was on TNT, you would just be watching it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like I don't need it. Like
No, that makes sense. I mean, that's with any kind of reboot, remake, or whatever
yeah,
the fuck.
it didn't add anything.
I totally
It's not
understand
as
that.
bad as the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Like that one is just unwatchable, I think. But like I don't know, like they just take like I said, it's 3 movies shoved into one. Like if I'm just gonna watch these 3 movies, then I'll just watch the third one,
Right.
because that's what they're trying to do. Basically, is like, hey, remember when he got his mask? Like, I'm like, yeah.
That was the worst scene in the whole movie to me.
Yeah.
That's the one scene I was like, man, they could have come up with something way better for him to get his mask in the reboot, remake, whatever the hell this thing.
They did have like the teenagers in the movie were like very like the stereotypical douchey like teens that you would see in a movie like that, which I thought was a good. Because like every movie, I think every good Jason movie has like the group of kids that you're like, oh, that kid's okay. Oh, I hate this kid, and this other's like, oh, there's a hot girl. Like,
See,
it's like that formula.
I'm gonna hard disagree with you because it's way higher on my list. But the first 20 minutes of that movie hits hard. It is good.
Even the woman is supposed to be Pamela Voorhees. She's talking to him.
The first 20 minutes of that movie are great, and I had so much hope for it.
I rewatched it today.
Sort of let me down, but it didn't let me down that much. I enjoyed it. I saw it in the theater. With a bunch of people that loved and enjoyed horror films. So people are screaming and yelling at the screen like, don't go in there, don't do it. This lady behind me had like 5 kids with her, and they were all spooked.
Oh no!
Oh man, it was
much
great.
nudity.
She had all the snacks. It was great. Those kids were taken care of, but man, I enjoyed it. You know, and I'll get to that when I get to it on my list.
Yeah, my number 10 is the Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
That's my number 10.
Are we just like one off from each other?
It's pretty funny. You know, originally when we thought about this episode, I thought, why don't we just actually compile one list that all three of us can agree on?
No.
And I thought it might be too hard,
That'd be
but
really
obviously it wasn't.
At least two of us agree on it. We're going to be close.
yeah.
It's going to change soon, Steve. Just trust me.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to fucking piss off even more people than we already have. At least I have. Okay, but here's the things I did like about it. One, it made me feel like they gave a shit about some of what came before. Unlike Jason X and goddamn Jason Goes to Hell and Manhattan. Like, they did more fan service, which I appreciate when it's a fucking sequel. I mean, people complain about fan service and I don't understand that. Give me the fan, respect me.
Yeah.
So, and what they didn't do that I hated, which was the whole he's afraid of water. That was the biggest strike. So when I'm trying to go back and watch these movies, I'm like, what do I like about it? What I don't like about him? And I almost did like a point system. And this one has very few compared to the ones we just talked about. I don't like the way Jason looks. Sure, they could have got Kane hotter, but Ken did a really good job, I thought. He played him in part 8. He helped Kane in part 8 as a stunt coordinator. He's the guy that gets like in the diner, gets thrown against the window. I was never like a big on the hate for this movie because he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
As long as Robert Englund was in the role, I was good. Now, I felt bad for Kane because he really was like the one who was at the forefront of the, like, let's bring these people together at every convention. I mean, even since like the early days of conventions, he was like, they're going to do this. So when it did it and they fucked him over, it pissed off so many fans, and rightfully so. But if I'm looking at this movie as it's what it is on its merits, I don't hate it that much. I thought the cast was good. I thought they did a really good job with like like all the stoner kids. Like, I didn't hate any of the characters, especially except for the ones you're supposed to hate, like Catherine Isabella's fucking boyfriend. He's such a scumbag, but you're supposed to hate that guy.
He gets folded into a bed.
Great kill, and that's another thing that this movie is. All of the kills are really good. I don't feel like I'm being shortchanged, and luckily we're at a time where they're not censoring everything. Like, you watch part 7, it's like there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Everything's off screen. And part 8's a little bit better, but still most of those kills are off screen. So I liked that. I liked the ending. We talked about Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein vibe. The end of this movie is Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, where they're on the dock and it's on fire and everything. Yeah. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, I dig this movie. And then when the music rises, they're in their chat in the cabin. But there's little things I hated, like his machete gets stuck in a piece of wood and he just can't get it out. So then Freddy can beat his ass. And there's a lot of little things like that I didn't like. To me, Pamela Voorhees is a very loving person, but she's insane to regular people. I didn't like how they had her in this. But you have to think that's not really her. That's Freddy being her. So I took that. Yeah. It's not a point against. There's all kinds of little things that I can do to make them not like this movie. And besides the fucking nu metal soundtrack and a couple of the things here and there, it's not that bad. I'm sorry. I liked the way Freddy looked. I liked the demonic Freddy at the end. I thought the special effects were great. They were all still, for the most part, practical. I think almost all of them were, except for like a couple of the morphine scenes. I don't know, man. It's not that bad.
When Freddy like flies out of the water and he's like, like this, I was like, what? Like, what is this?
You don't watch enough wrestling, because that's what the end of that movie was to me. It was like watching the WrestleMania.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, it's just like watching some ridiculous wrestling match.
I'll put in No Holds Barred next time I want to watch a wrestling movie.
Is it a great fucking movie? No, but this is way more rewatchable than the ones I think don't even respect anybody's fandom. I'm sorry.
I would hard agree.
If you put Kane Hodder in this movie, this goes up to a 10 for most people. I'm just saying, man. If you take, he's scared of water, which makes no fucking sense. But everybody else is great. Like, all the actors and actresses are fucking great. I'm rooting for them. And I thought, Ronnie, you brought some energy back to the fucking franchise.
They have to.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, they over-explain the plot constantly through the movie. He's like, I'm not strong enough yet.
He's got to power up.
Got to get more kids. I'm like, I get it. I'm not an idiot.
Look, if they would have just cast Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan as these two characters, you would have loved it. Maybe he doesn't like water because he lived there for years. It's sort of irrational. It'd be like me, like I can't go to a 1-bedroom apartment because I'm terrified of it because I live there.
No more studio apartments.
No more studios. But my number 9 which we'll start off with 9.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is Freddy versus Jason.
No, this is hilarious.
We're very close, and I promise I'll screw this up here shortly. Yeah, everything you just said pretty much hits the points. It's a fun watch. You'd been waiting for years. You finally get to see him fight, and it wasn't in a comic book form. It was like actually on screen.
Right.
Thought the makeup and effects looked good. The kills looked good. They had all the tropes, the stoners, the preppy girl. They had it all.
Yeah.
Everything you could want out of one of these movies. And you tell me a good slasher that came out in 2003. Would you, Ace?
None.
All right, there you go. So the bar is pretty low. We had been spoiled, and we weren't quite back yet. But you know what? This was a good start. This was a good start. A movie we'd all been waiting on for a long time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's another one I saw in the theater, and a bunch of people were just. You saw it at like a midnight release or something. Everybody's like cheering and screaming. It's fun. It was a fun atmosphere. So maybe that's why I like it more. Now I would just watch it at home and the dog would scream at me when the TV's on.
Yeah. When she goes into the water, she's like, "Oh, well, fuck you then." I'm like, "This is Friday the 13th."
Yeah.
Like that first 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." They gave a shit as much as they could.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, bring King Hodder back and that movie goes way up in a lot of people's opinions.
Fake Jay and Silent Bob with the high worm.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
From the worm from Alice in Wonderland or whatever that is. I think that's, yeah. I appreciate that. I like that it brought back the Hypnosil. There's a lot, there's some cool shit.
Yeah,
and there's some
I like
creepy
that.
stuff in this movie.
Some callbacks.
Yeah. I hated all the right people. I liked all the right people. I don't know, man. I liked how they chopped off his fingers. You're like, oh my god! Now, this is going to the next level at the end, and it just keeps going and going and going. And it is over the top wrestling Abbott and Costello movie.
And at the end, he's got his head. He's like, ah.
So nobody wins. It's like King Kong versus Godzilla.
No, Steve.
Sorry.
We won.
Yeah.
The fans.
At that time.
At that time, we won. Because that was the best we could hope for. Ace, what's your number 9?
Number 9, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Ooh, people hate your.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were going to
you,
hate me.
People
They hate you.
love this movie.
Oh,
and
man.
the only reason you like this movie is because it's the one they showed on TV the most. So if you had basic cable growing up, this is the Friday the 13th they showed every Halloween because it has the least amount of violence. All the kills are off screen.
It's pretty much TV ready.
It's the one it's already made for cable TV. Like, that's why you like it, is because you saw it the most.
Yeah, you're right.
Growing up. Like, that's why. And that's the only reason people like this movie. If you go back and watch it, it's like, and like, I love the dumb ones. And also, this movie, as far as the timeline goes, because I had to write this down immediately, because this takes place 7 years after Part 6.
Of course it does.
So technically, this is supposed to be in 1997, which makes sense because of her mom's giant 80s helmet hair and everybody's huge, puffy, pulled up pants to their fucking chest.
They couldn't predict the future.
Yeah. So, that's 1997. He fights a girl, she has telekinetic powers. Like, at this point, at least he's killing like human beings, and then all of a sudden in Part 7, he's like, "Oh, now I have superpowers." That's the only person
He's
who can fight.
a zombie.
But yeah, it's like it has the least amount of nudity, the least amount of violence.
Yeah, this was heavily censored at the time, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was basically made for cable television by the
Yeah.
time they got done butchering it.
And you could put, this is the sleeping bag one, right?
Yeah,
And
they cut
the
all
best
that out.
part.
It's one smack in,
Yeah.
in the theatrical version.
And
yeah.
if the box set you can see the behind the scenes, which if they included all the stuff they cut out, this would have been like way higher up on the list because it would have been even better. And the telekinesis does not save it.
He's versus Carrie in this one pretty much.
Yeah. And just watching this growing up, like every time somebody would go rent a Friday the 13th movie, they always rented this one. I don't know. I think it's just because they saw it on AMC, would play it every Halloween.
I'm going to defend this when it comes to my turn to get to this movie.
But yeah, that's The New Blood. Not one of my favorites, but probably one of the ones I've seen the most out of the entire series.
And that's something, you obviously have seen it so many times that you are defended. Like, this is not one that I enjoy that much.
Yeah.
You don't hate it. But it's
No.
not, Or is it because you're sick of it, Ace? Is that why?
No, it's just like every time
Fucker.
I would watch it, it was like everybody always wanted to watch Part 7, and then I went back and started watching all the other ones, and I was like, why do you all keep watching Part 7 when like all these other there's so many more better ones than this that have like better effects and violent? Like, I don't know. And then it's the first one with Kane Hodder, which
Yeah.
everybody always like. Kane Hodder is like the best Jason. It's like he didn't even show up to part 7, and like he tilts his head to the side when he kills somebody. Wow, acting like so fucking great.
Method.
Oh, what a
Jesus
method actor!
Christ.
Give him a fucking Oscar. He's like, I tilt my head to the side. He's a fucking
He's
greatest
Michael
Jason
Myers.
ever.
It's little things, man.
But
So my number 9 is Jason X. I don't hate it because this is the one movie that there's no way in hell you can take serious. There's no way in hell you can take serious, so it's so much easier to watch, and it can be as awful as it is or awful as you think it's going to be. But I think that they put, after watching not 7 but 8 and 9, and how much they just didn't give a fuck about the fans, except for Kane Hodder. At least they brought him back. Thank you for this movie. But there's so much nostalgia that they put in this movie. I loved the beginning. I liked how he looked. They went from like how they just totally didn't give a fuck how he looked in 8 and 9. They brought back the chain. I think the eyeballs on the correct side. I can't remember, but little things like that. And then when he becomes Uber Jason, I like that. I think it's so, dude, guys, we're in space.
yeah,
So it's time to get back with the nanotechnology. Okay, come on,
Yeah.
old men. It's time to get with science.
it's
here.
2455.
I
This
thought
is the technology.
They spent a lot of money or they stole the sets. The sets look pretty good for what they are. It seems like halfway through the movie, it's like getting old, and then that's when he becomes Uber Jason. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is goofy. It's gonna fuck it, man. I'm balls deep in this stupidity. I might as well just enjoy it, and I did. End of my rant. That's not really a rant.
Steve's going to be like, Ghoulies Go to College was the best Ghoulies film.
You just wait when we get to that franchise.
I like when they talk.
Oh, man. Well, enough of that piece of shit. My number 8, part 7.
Oh.
Censored.
Hmm.
Just, I agree with Ace. It's very, very censored, and he's just like, hey, I'm going to go kill this teenage girl that can throw mind bullets, but she never does anything cool. She never does.
She just stares at him like.
She just stares at him like really intently.
She's learning.
No, man, that's not the fight we want to see. We want to see the fight where she like winks and like an arm fucking flies off.
Yeah.
Slaps him in the face. Like, I will give the movie some credit. I thought Jason looked really cool in it when he loses his mask and he's got that fucking weird zombie face.
He looks like a frog.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I think it's
Evil
great.
frog
I
Jason.
think it's great. And yeah, the head tilt, didn't really care for it.
Yeah. There's things about part 7 that, it's so many things that are great about that movie. But the script alone is just awful. And how they get you to each scene. You can just tell like each scene was just created and they just try to figure out a way to connect all of them. And it rarely makes sense.
Right,
He's
because-
outside. He's inside. He's outside. He's inside. He's in the barn. Now he's back upstairs. That shit doesn't make sense. And it's like having like 7 different SNL skits all put together. and Header's just running around trying to make it all like, yeah, Vincent Price is part 7. Bill Header's just trying to connect all the dots. Part 7, man. It's an interesting movie.
I don't want to say much more about it as yet to offend the audience.
All right, so what's your 8?
8.
Ace?
Jason Goes to Hell. The final Friday.
Wow, you really like this movie.
Dude, yeah. I don't know. It's probably this is the one I saw first as a kid because it came out. We rented it. I saw that big flaming box cover with the worm coming out of the mask, and the mask is silver.
You're hyped.
That was a good box. It was good.
Yeah,
good art.
good box.
Good art cover.
Sounds
Cover art.
dirty.
I didn't realize this till not that long ago that I'd only ever watched the unrated version. And a while back, me and somebody else were like hanging out, and I was like, "Oh, put that on that movie. I like. There's some good kills in that one." And then he put it on, and I was like, he got to the part where they're in the tent, and they're like having sex, and then he's supposed to shove that big bar like through the girl's chest, and then he's like rips her in half, but it cuts everything out, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Turn this off. I can't watch it like this." I was like, "I can't watch this R-rated bullshit." Like, I was like. It just makes the unrated version of this movie is, I think, very watchable because it keeps everything in there. The kills are better. I do enjoy how stupid it is. Like how the opening with all the like SWAT teams like obviously shooting at each other, but like they're all hitting Jason and the bullets are like bouncing off of his like machete, and then he gets taken and like that scene when he's on the table, when he's on like the slab, and the guy's doing he's like cutting his heart out and stuff, and he starts biting into it. I remember as a kid seeing that, and that like really creeped me out. There's like the black blood's coming down his like mouth and everything.
He's all like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then like there's Creighton Dukes out there in the middle of nowhere, and he's just like watching the SWAT team, just talking to himself. He's like, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And he's like, who are you talking to?
I've been watching Jason from afar for so long. He doesn't even know it.
But yeah, there's like, I don't know, like there's like parts of it it's super dumb. I do like, it's got the Roadhouse girl at the beginning.
Yeah.
All the stuff, people hate this movie because of the like, Jason's barely in it, like he's like, you know, he's gone for like 45 minutes of the movie, and then he shows back up. But like there's really good scenes in this where like the guy's like there's the whole scene where he's like melting and like his fucking
at the end,
yeah, like that shit's really good.
The effects are really good in this movie.
Yeah,
I'm not going to deny
I like
that.
the effects. I think I like how he looks in the movie, because by the time you get to this movie, I think that he would look like a giant meatball, like the way he kind of does, where it's just like his mask is like barely there, and it's like his skin's growing over it.
Yeah, the
And
head.
he's very
head
waterlogged.
His head
Yeah.
looks great.
He's all swelled up looking. Like, I think he looks like he would look like that by that point in his life, which is sometime in the continuity of this movie is sometime around 1998, maybe 99. Yeah, and part of it might be nostalgia that I like this movie that much, but it's up there for me. Like, this is a one I'll rewatch every year, so every couple of years.
Yeah. Well, my number 8 is the remake. Believe it or not. I just finished watching that, and I had to move it up. And I was like, holy crap, I don't hate this nearly as much as I think I did or I wanted to before I started watching it again. Marcus Nispel, him and Danny Pearl. Danny Pearl is the original cinematographer from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the 70s and actually did the remake with Marcus Nispel, who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Now, most people gave this a lot of hate because of the Platinum Dunes guys, like Michael Bay's remaking our movies. I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and I like this one. There's really good violence. There's really good nudity. They actually had to cut like 10 minutes of sex and violence out of this movie. Michael Bay walked out of the screening, the original screening, because he's like, there's too much sex. I'm like, are you kidding? We just finished watching it, and I swear to God, that last fuck scene must go on for 5 minutes. Perfect nipple placement.
And what more can you possibly say?
Nana Visitor from DS9 plays his mom. And I thought she played her as well as she could have, because she is so sweet. And yet she's just like, I'm sorry I have to kill you. It reminds me so much of like how Pamela Voorhees was in the first film. She's just like, you know, today's his birthday, and now you got to fucking die. And then he gave us what people have been talking about for years. Jason's alive, he's hiding in the woods, and he watches his mom get murdered. That happens in this movie. You get the baghead Jason. People like the original. You know, everyone talks about how much they love part 2, and they love the before you got to the hockey mask, or a lot of people do. I mean, the hockey mask is the fucking most iconic thing in these movies, no matter what. Yeah. And they gave us all of that. Now, I know you're saying like they didn't like how they smashed it all together, but you have to get to the story, and 25 minutes is how long it takes before the actual title screen comes on the movie, and that first group of people are fucking fun as hell to watch.
Yes,
they are.
That was my point.
They are. But
I actually like
also
those people.
like the kids afterwards. I do. I like Padalecki. I like Panabaker. I like all these people that are in this movie. I hate fucking Trent. You're supposed to hate Trent. He's a piece of shit. He doesn't even know how to fucking hold a gun, and he's like the gun guy. Don't take your feet off the fucking table. Like, all that stuff makes sense. The effects are great. I like that they brought more characters that are not necessarily a part of they're part of the lore, but they're fast. Like, the Harbinger is a woman in a house. She's like, these are his woods. I liked all these little bitty things. Overall, man, it's not that bad of a movie. The kills are great. The sex scenes are great. I thought that Derek Mears pulled off a great Jason. One of the big things that people still hate about this movie is not Kane Hodder, and Jason doesn't run. You've obviously never seen the first 4 fucking movies. Yeah. Get out of my face with that crap.
He doesn't have to run. He's got tunnels, Steve. They explain it.
He runs in every goddamn movie that he's in, except for part 1, because he's too busy splashing. He'd be splashing in that movie. But, I think Marcus Nispel tried to give the fans what he thought they wanted, and he did it his own way as well. And I think they pulled it off. I liked his different use of weapons. I liked the underground tunnels for like trying to explain how he could get around without being like, he's just teleporting. He's not science fiction. He's not supernatural. He's Jason, and I hated the biggest tick on my hate meter was how he got the mask. That could have been way more iconic. I liked the whole Blue Velvet, like fuck Heineken, Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's in the movie. Like these little bitty things that a horror nerd should pick up on, and I did. There's a wheelchair from part 2 in the cave. There's Pamela Voorhees' sweater in the cave from part 1. There's what else? I mean, we were just talking about that earlier. There's like all these little things in the cave that I'm like, hey, that's from that movie. That's from that movie. It's like seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre part 2, and you see the wheelchair and the flashlight guy. He's like, oh my god, this is great. Is it a fantastic movie? No what. But as far as slasher movies go, it's pretty good. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Dave, what's your number 7?
Oh, my number 7 would be Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives.
Whoa, yeah.
The hard return back to Jason Voorhees, because this one, it's got, you bring back Tommy Jarvis, which he was in 5, but 5 was totally different. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I like it.
It's higher on my list.
People are expecting that one to be much lower on our list, and I like it.
The Jarvis trilogy.
The last of the Jarvis trilogy. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here, the better ones. See, I like this one better than Part 7. They break the fourth wall in this one, don't they? Isn't this the one where they break the fourth wall?
Yeah, it says fart head.
He looks right in the camera, and some people have a strange idea of entertainment. This is the comic book movie.
Yeah, this is a comic book movie. I did enjoy the paintball scene. I think it was hilarious to see all these people on retreat. They're like, oh, shoot him with the paintball gun. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And he kills them. So there's some fun kills. But overall,
we did an entire episode on this movie.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but that's where I'm at. That's where it stays, in that position. Number 7.
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Ace, what do you
And
got?
if you want to hear the rest of our rant on it, go back to that episode, which we'll put in the link. Comments. Yeah, something
that's
like
true.
My number 7 is Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This one, like I said, I never watched this one as a kid. And I think it was probably because when I looked it up, I probably saw like, there's not an N in the rating on the TV guide for nudity, so that I probably was like, I'll just skip that one. Let's rent Part 5 again. But let's watching it more as an adult. It's like the funny one. You got the James Bond opening scene with them like throwing the knife at the screen.
I think it sets the tone for the movie.
Yeah.
This is the movie you're going to get. It's not going to be hardcore horror.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
You got Alice Cooper. I mean, this is the fun movie. It's got the 2 Alice Cooper songs. Like I said, all this when we did the other episode, but it's definitely, this is a hugely enjoyable watch, but it also, a lot of the things, like, I think they kind of dialed back some of the violence and some of the other stuff, and they made it a lot more, like, not family friendly, but
palatable.
It's like, yeah,
6 and
they
7
made it
were
for
both very much like
yeah,
that.
they made it for a larger audience. But yeah, I definitely will watch this one a little more than, some less than some of the other ones, but I don't hate it. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah. My Part 7 is Part 7. I love what Karl Buechler tried to do with this movie and with the franchise. The stories of him battling with the producer and her having her way, and him trying to basically sneak shit in when she wasn't around. Like it's notorious. Like the stories, and he looks amazing. And John Karl Buechler's company did the effects. The problem with this movie to me is it doesn't make any sense from scene to scene to scene. But then when you go back and you watch some of the work print stuff that they included on some of the DVDs, I think it's even in the new Blu-ray collection.
Yeah.
There's whole new scenes that make the whole movie make more sense. Like whenever you need touch-up work, when she just goes out in the woods, that makes me so fucking angry. Like, why are you walking out in the woods saying, "Are you guys out here?" But if you watch the work print, she follows them into the shed. They're getting high. Jason follows her into there, and then that's how all that shit happens. There's no like her going off in the woods and loot. Like that's one of the dumbest scenes in the movie. So I can forgive that kind of crap. But man, he just looks amazing. Kane Hodder he took everything that he liked in the other films and brought it to the role. So they're all small little things. What else are you going to do when you're covered in 10 pounds of makeup and monster goo?
Tilt your head.
Yeah, the editing helped because I didn't realize how annoying his heavy breathing got until like part 8 when they didn't have such a quick edit. And it's just him standing in the middle of Times Square going, "I just swam from no." It got on my nerves. But in part 7, you don't really notice it because it cut so well together. I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of complaints about this movie except for how bloodless it is.
Yeah.
And it's never going to get any better because apparently they've lost all of those deleted scenes, like actual to be able to fix them and not make them look like crap.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
That's
So
great.
my part 7 is part 7, man. I liked the whole Tina thing. I always say this. I like 7/8 of this movie because the last part is one of the worst parts is when Daddy comes out of the goddamn lake and he looks like he just smeared some poop on his face to grab Jason. But they actually filmed it the way that it was originally planned. And of course that producer was like, no, he just needs to look normal again. They filmed him as zombie dad doing the exact same thing. And then they just cut it. And then it's inserted that. So Jason looks like he's got all the battle scars from all the other movies. Yeah. And I appreciate all that shit.
I love that. I love the mass continuity where it keeps like all the stuff that happened to him through the movies.
It's all, his eye,
all in there.
His eye is on the correct fucking side. It's not like that again until like whatever part. I think Jason X finally. It's just I don't know, man. I love the suit. I love the costume. I love the kills. The music is great. It's actually I think it's a mix between Fred Mullen and Terry Madfrediti, but I don't know. It's a 7 on 7.
7 on 7. Well, I'll just go on to my 6, the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was better than 6 and all the other shit that I just mentioned because it was good. You listed a lot of good things. Ace listed a lot of stuff I don't care about.
I mean, you got it way up there.
It is a reimagining, but look at it like this. If this was, say, the first Friday the 13th film that you saw, you've never seen another one, would there be enough in there to give you context and make you want to watch more? Yes, there is. Yeah. And I think that's what I liked about it, because you could watch this as a standalone movie and get everything you need to know.
Yeah, if you're going to get up to speed before the next sequel, which they had hoped to make, there's no other way to do it.
Yeah,
is to put them all together.
And I thought it was cohesive enough. It didn't feel like it was a really long movie in the grand scheme of things, and they covered a lot of ground. And it made money, so that's the sad part. It made money, and they were going to make another one, but then they got into legal troubles, and it'll never happen.
Yeah, Victor Miller stepped in again and ruined the franchise for the fans. He thought this was going to be a remake, and then they lied to him, and then they said it wasn't going to be a remake, it was going to be a sequel, because there's like a money difference in those things, and then they didn't pay him, and then they billed it as a remake, and he was like, you motherfuckers, because if it had been a remake, then he would have got more money, and they lied to him up to the point of release.
Yeah.
So is it really his fault, or is it their fault? I think it's their fault, but
I think everybody needs to stop fighting and just give us a 13th film.
You're not the one getting if you're not getting paid, I'm on your side. I'm like, Hollywood has enough fucking money, dude.
Well, hopefully all these people die before we do, so we get another movie. So that was my pick. Ace, what was yours?
Oh boy, you're gonna love this one. Number 6. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Really? I can't wait. I mean, I'm excited.
I love how dumb this movie is. Like,
okay, see, I hate how dumb this movie is.
It's so entertaining to watch this. I was like, not since Freddy's being revived by a dog peeing on his grave has something like that been so dumb. Like, they're literally like, the boat propeller hits an underwater electric line, and they're like, well, now he's alive.
Yeah.
It starts there, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so stupid. They get on the SS Lazarus boat, take a slow boat to New York, and like an hour later, you're there.
When they're rowing out in the middle of fog, it's just like where did they film this? It's nothing but fog.
Yeah. Like, everything about this, and I also love any 80s movie where New York looks like just a total scummy, toxic wasteland.
Like you remember when you were a kid?
Like, I would just be like, I never want to go to New York. Have you ever seen it in an 80s movie?
Yeah. This is before the Giuliani cleanup, I guess.
Yeah.
Quote unquote cleanup.
But
as far as gentrification is concerned.
Like, God, everything about it, just like literally like they're in the alley and there's just a barrel of toxic waste.
With a rat.
The rat, and then like the creepy like school teacher guy that's always on the boat. Yeah. And then like when they finally get to New York, it's like some iconic scenes there with him in Times Square.
There's like when he kicks the radio.
They get to New York and he's like, let's split up.
And there's And is this where you see like an advertisement for Batman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see like an overhead look, like a shot from the overhead of Times Square.
Which is funny because this is supposed to be 1998.
It's not. It's 1989.
Definitely not 1998. God, it's got that song that I love so much in it, which is that super cheesy 80s song where he's like, the darkest side of the night.
You hear it twice.
Like you hear it 2 times in the movie. And I'm like, every time I say it, I'm like, oh, dude. And somebody made like their own video with clips from the movie with that song. I watch it all the time on YouTube if I'm like drunk at night, like having a few beers. I'm like, I want to watch that video.
So every night before bed.
Ace's lullaby.
Dark as the night.
Yeah, that movie. It's like I love how dumb that movie is. And also, it was also one like I rented a lot as a kid because I was like, oh, he's going to Manhattan now. Like that was like after I saw some of I saw 5 and like 4 and 3, and then I was like, oh, he's going to Manhattan. This is going to be great.
Gonna run into the turtles.
I was like, when is he gonna get there?
Man, there was so much hype to this movie, and then I
Yeah.
was just like, I loved it as a kid, and then no.
The poster was pretty rad.
Poster was awesome.
The one they had to stop
ripping-
using?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I for all the reasons that a lot of people hate this movie, I love it. It's like it's so dumb, it's super entertaining. I'll always I'll pick this, watch it anytime.
That's great. Yeah, it's a feel good movie for you. That's just
Yeah.
great. I'm glad it makes you fucking happy.
Yeah, make them dumber.
They did. They did.
Wish granted.
God damn, where are we? What number is
Number
it?
6.
Oh my God, my number 6 is actually a new beginning. I'll bring it out because I don't hate Roy.
Roy the paramedic.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, I thought this fell in line with the first 4. It felt the same. It's great. When I was a kid, I didn't even put it all together until the end because I was a child. But my dad was probably just laughing his ass off. I'm jumping around. I'm so excited, and my dad's just like, it's not him. look at the mask, son.
Yeah.
When you see Jason Shepard as Tommy, like having like visions of Jason, that's the real mask. They used the part 3 mask in the first 3, like those sequels.
Yeah.
They just you can see it slowly deteriorate, and then when you see it as Roy, here's the thing about this: the bad points of this movie is like, how does Roy know all of this shit? And by the fucking mugshot of Jason Voorhees with his mask on and the newspaper clipping is like, wow, I love this piece of shit. Hey, how you felt about part 8 is how I felt about this, but the characters, they're the one-liners are so fucking great. But it has really good boobs, has amazing fucking kills.
Yeah.
I like all of the characters actually.
Yeah.
And
I want some of that stew. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think Shepard kicked ass as Tommy. I love Kung Fu Tommy. He's one of my favorites. Tom Matthews is great. But if there was a way they could have combined Kung Fu and Tommy Jarvis like they did in part 5 for the rest of this franchise, I would have been down. Because it would have been by Jason X, he would have been cryogenically frozen as Kung Fu Tommy. He would have came out and fucking kicked his ass.
Yeah.
see, I would have liked that movie.
Yeah. Kung Fu Tommy rules. So, A New Beginning is one of my favorite movies. Also because it's a lot of fun, but as a Friday the 13th movie, it doesn't. I still don't think it shits on the fans. Yeah, it's not Jason, but it's pretty fucking apparent as an adult that's not Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, yeah.
And when she pulls out the chainsaw, which that chainsaw is the exact same one I just gave you for your birthday, by the way, is the same one. I was like, Evil Dead. I watched this movie and I see all the things I love about this movie.
The reason why I know so much is because everything happened like a week ago, Steve. We can talk about time frames when I get to that one.
Man, I dig it. It's nice to see suicide from Eternally Dead. He kills Roy's son.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dig into this movie because
Over a candy bar.
I mean, we've been talking about these movies for over an hour, but don't fuck with candy bars, man. You either give them to me or you don't. You don't tell me to forget it, Vic. You will fucking die.
Just forget it.
Yeah, just forget it.
You
Vic.
get an axe in your head.
And Roy is a badass. How fucking bad? He comes through a door that makes no fucking sense. That's the one. The 2 things that don't make sense in this movie is one, he can get hit by Reggie, and it's, by the way, it's one of my favorite Final Girls as well. And he still gets up, but he's wounded, he's bleeding. I'm a big fan of this goofy movie.
Have you ever been to paramedic training?
No.
What was that, Katie?
You know what doesn't make sense about this movie?
What's that?
Roy let his son think that he was an orphan for his entire life, but then cares so much when he's dead that he slaughters a bunch of people.
He was doing an experiment.
What the fuck?
I mean, he's trying to make him tough.
No.
trying to make up
Do
for
you have
lost time.
children, Katie?
I have
Do you know?
I have furry children.
I was going to
yes.
say dogs don't count.
Dogs count.
Sometimes you got to let them go.
You gotta let them go do their own thing.
You just got to
I
let them
will
go.
hurt you.
Maybe he was a bad dad and he thought this was the best, but I'll keep an eye on him because I'll be a paramedic and these kids are rambunctious and always get hurt. I'll be
Maybe he went out for a pack of smokes and was like, you know what? This seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And just never came back.
I mean, I get it. That kid's annoying, but still.
Oh, man.
I don't know. What if he was your son? You just drop him off at the old orphanage. This kid won't stop
Hang out
getting
here,
candy
son.
bars all over my furniture.
Anyways, the
You know how hard it is to get chocolate on a shag carpet?
my number 6 is A New Beginning.
Oh man, that's crazy. My number 5 is part 3
Okay.
because 3D. Woo! It's one of the original ones.
Do you remember? I've told the story before. Do you remember when you and I went to the drive-in to see it in 3D and it wasn't in 3D?
Yeah.
And we're sitting there for an hour with our glasses on, and Dave looks at me and goes, "Take your glasses off. It's not in 3D." I was like, "Son of a!" And it was advertised as 3D,
being in 3D.
People paid to see this movie at the drive-in, original print in 3D.
They gave us 3D glasses.
I have.
insane.
By the way, these are original ones from the not from that viewing, but you're right. And he was just like, "Take your glasses off, Steve. We got lied to." Sorry. Go ahead.
We went to driving. It was a perfect time, and maybe that's why it didn't get ranked higher. But I don't know. This movie was a total jump on the wagon with the 3D. They're like, oh, look at the stab you, and they got the eye, and it's gonna be right in your face.
The baseball bat and yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a yo-yo?
Yes, there is.
Every 3D movie has a yo-yo
Yes,
in
there
it.
is.
Unfortunately, there is. This one, I don't really know what much more to say about it because I probably should have ranked it lower. Now I'm thinking about it because the thing is like the only thing you can really think about it is like, ooh, it's 3D.
Man, there's so many good things about this movie.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I love this movie.
Okay.
There are.
Ace and I are going to jump into this.
Oh,
later
yeah?
on. Oh yeah.
Is it the hockey mask? Is that what you're going to say? Because he does get the hockey mask, which is an iconic.
No. This is
No?
I'll defend
No?
it when I get to be able to predict talk.
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna shit on it like everybody.
Please do.
No, I don't want to shit on it because it's in the top 5. Why would I shit on it?
Yeah.
It's in 3D. Out of the last movies that we haven't picked, the only reason it's not higher is because it's in 3D, and I just hate shitty 3D movies.
Yeah. And when you get to the final 4, it gets tougher.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a
And you
lot
decided 3D was your
Yeah.
breaking point.
Was my cutoff point?
You know,
Yeah.
What, you don't like Jaws 3D?
You know, like Space Hunter in 3D.
Dave doesn't like gimmicks. He doesn't like Manhattan. He doesn't like space. He doesn't like 3D.
Holy shit! I think
His
we just,
favorite
had, we just had a breakthrough.
Your favorite band is Gore. Fuck off.
It's different. It's music.
Oh shit. Ace, where you want to go with this?
My number 5 is the original.
Wow.
Ba-ba-ba-da.
There you go.
This has to be the only like horror series where the original, like I would say, like there can't be anybody out there whose favorite Friday the 13th movie is the original.
It's tough, man. It's because it's by now today's standards it's so formulaic, but at the time it was just ripping off Michael Myers.
It's just
so
Halloween.
it was still kind of
Yeah.
original.
But
It's like a Giallo movie.
yeah, you never hear. But it's like it's still like how many like all these like famous series. Like nobody's like my favorite Halloween movie is part 4 or something. Like
Right.
you know, like it's weird that is kind of how this is because it's definitely not the best one in my opinion. It's like I don't know, and like people who are like horror noobs. Like they don't realize that Jason doesn't actually get the mask till the 3rd one, and that's always like one of those questions you would see on like Jeopardy or something, where like they would ask people who don't watch horror movies.
That's how they got him in Scream.
Yeah,
Because
and, like,
everyone
yeah.
forgot that Pamela Voorhees was the original killer.
Also,
Yeah.
it has the worst Jason in it.
Yeah, worst Jason. Yeah, if I was gonna make a band and name it after somebody in this movie, I would call it Worst Jason.
Yeah.
and not First Jason.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not a number 1.
But yeah, and I don't care that he was in. I don't care he was the first Jason. I like. I mean, the end of this is obviously great. It definitely does have those kind of like giallo vibes.
You have to
like,
get
you
the
don't
speed
know.
bump.
Yeah.
This is the speed bump. You have to get over the speed bump
yeah.
to make the rest of the movie.
Kevin Bacon, knife through the neck. That's great. Definitely. I mean, for 1980, I think this is very like I mean, it's really good. It's up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, as far as the other one, it is like, you're trying to get there. They didn't know where they were going yet, but they did, and you got the coming back out of the water, which was a huge deal at the time. Everybody, I mean, that kind of gets looked over now because it was done to death, like after, really after Carrie, like that whole thing started that, which is why they did that. And then, but actually, I mean, like, really the whole movie is like, hey, we just copied a bunch of things from other movies.
And they're unapologetic about it.
Yeah. And like, they don't try to hide that. They're trying to do, Halloween was big. What's another scary holiday? Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So it started here with its roots, which I think are good, but it turned into something better later on.
Yeah, it's really weird because people won't give movies a chance anymore to become a franchise, and this one got better as it went. I mean, by most people's standards, Part 4 is the peak. I mean, that's arguable. That's arguable, but I understand that. So my Part 4. Wait.
Five.
My Part 5. My Part 5.
Number 5.
Your number 5.
All these numbers. My number 5 is number 6. We did an entire episode on this fucking movie because we all enjoy it. And I enjoy it because Tom McLaughlin's like, what can I possibly do that hasn't been done in 5 movies? And back then, a franchise making it to 6 is unheard of.
Yeah.
Like Halloween, nobody had gotten this far besides like Dracula movies and Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
So James Bond.
And they didn't even number them. They were just called like, they were just calling these movies like Part 6, Part 5.
Right. And they had to stop doing that.
Yeah.
So people would be like, well, I don't know that one, because that way they can keep making bank and you don't have to go back and watch the whole franchise to catch up. So they just like, Jason Takes Manhattan.
I watched all of these out of order as a kid too. I never watched them in order till way later in life.
Most people, that's how they watch movies. Yeah. But this is the comic book version. Like you said, I brought up 007. He's making it a point. Like, this is not going to be your dad's. This is another generation. I love it. I love the way Jason comes back. It's the first zombie Jason.
Yeah.
C.J. Graham is fucking awesome. You're talking about subtleties. He does all the subtleties. The only thing he does differently than any other Jasons, he doesn't run.
Yeah.
He's unstoppable in this. He's not going to cry when you stab him in the leg. He's not going to grunt. He's just like, he's bulletproof because the bullets are going through him.
Yeah.
He's a badass. The direction's great. I love Tom Matthews. I'm a big Return of the Dead fan before I saw this. And this movie rules, man. The fucking Alice Cooper music videos that came out at the time, fucking great soundtrack.
He's back.
Everything. Teenage Frankenstein. I love all the kills. It doesn't even have nudity in it, and I never thought about that until like 10 years after I saw the movie.
Yeah.
You don't need
Which was a big seller in the early movies.
It's so rewatchable. It's so enjoyable. There's so many Easter eggs. Karloff's garage. All these little things.
Yeah.
It's fucking great, man. And it's definitely in the top 5 of my movies. There you go. Jason Lives, Part 5.
So we go to my Part 4. My number 4, number 5. Because Roy. How many other
the reason most people hate it?
How many other horror movies have a villain named Roy? I'll wait. Name them. It was a ballsy move for them to do.
My dad's name is Roy.
Yeah.
He looks like a normal guy too.
Yeah, he looks like a Roy.
But he had to put on the fake Jason head to kill everybody.
Yeah, but I was sort of caught off guard because I saw it as a younger guy, and I was just like, holy shit, it's not him. It's the paramedic from the beginning.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So, I was very shocked.
When people act like, oh, it's so obvious. Like, dude, you're 40. Of course you see it. I was a child when I saw that.
When
movie.
I was a kid and watched it, I didn't make any of those connections as far as the mask looking different and all that.
No.
Because I saw Part 5, but the only one I saw before this was 7. So how the hell am I supposed to know?
Everybody had great boots, and I like dancing.
It was directed by a porn director. So
people always want to shit on that and act like that's the reason people don't like it. I'm like, that's a plus. In this genre. And it's not the first time, by the way.
Yeah, he's like...
A fucking porn director made a horror movie that most people love.
He's like, I want to try penetration, but different.
Oh, man.
And it worked out for us.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie, and to save time, we will go on to Ace's number 4.
Number 4.
Nobody wants to discuss Demon. Demon rules.
Demon. I'll talk
Those
about
goddamn enchiladas.
Friday, my Part 4, Part 2.
Nice.
Which I ranked it above the original, mainly because of the bed scene, which was ripped off of A Bay of Blood.
Yeah,
they're
always trying to argue that. It's like, you can't. It's just almost shot.
Yeah, shot for shot. Took it straight from that, like straight through there.
Yeah.
Got both of them. That part, also, my favorite effect, and really the best thing in this movie, then the guy in the wheelchair and he gets the machete to the face and then rolls down the stairs with the machete.
Yeah.
Like,
The best kill.
That's the best kill. That's one of the best kills in the whole series. Like that.
What was that, Mark?
That
Is his
alone.
name? Yeah.
I have to remember it from the song Mark.
I just wanted I wanted him to get fucked, and he got killed, so he got fucked a different way.
Yeah, but
Poor Mark.
yeah, him rolling down those stairs with the axe in the face, and that's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. But besides that part, it's kind of the rest of it for years. This is one of the ones I watched the least because
Really?
it's just like Baghead. Like I can't. There's
This
a lot
wasn't
of
your
it.
thing.
I just can't remember anything. For years, I was like, I don't remember anything about this movie.
I'm a big fan of Children of the Corn Jason.
Yeah, but
Children of the Jason. Jason of the Corn.
yeah. Plus, you know, I don't know. Like it was just like it was that weird one between the first one and when he got the mask. So like everybody always want to see the one where he got the mask, and everybody forgets when he had the burlap sack on his head. When he takes it off, he's kind of derpy looking. But
That's what happens when you drown.
but like going back and watching it, it definitely has its scenes. And kind of that's why I kind of put it above the original.
Yeah,
I
makes
like
sense.
it. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's just it doesn't. It's like almost there, but not. Oh, it's not there yet. Like they're getting there, and they're like not hadn't hit their stride yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the part 2.
My part 4 is part 1. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So Steve Miner, who you just talked about directing part 2, he worked on part 1, and I think that's why part 2 is better than part 1, in my opinion. But I'll get to part 2. Obviously, I haven't even talked about it yet. So part 1, you have to have the part 1. We're not talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, which is like just groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It broke the mold of the whole genre of slashers. This literally is a cookie cutter of, like you just said, 3 different movies, technically. Bay, not Bay Blood, but like of Giallo films, holiday horror films. Like this is the second one of that. Or no, it's the third because you have Black Christmas, you've got Halloween, and then you got Friday the 13th. There's nothing original about the title. There's nothing original about the kills. The only thing that's really, really saves this movie for me is it was great to have a whodunit again, and it's a woman.
Yeah.
Because I'm wearing her sweater. And here's the weird, I didn't know that he was a hydrocephalic because in the scenes that I saw on VHS or in television, you can't really see his face. You can see mommy.
Yeah.
Part 1 is groundbreaking for a reason as far as like being an American slasher movie that helped break the mold. Tom Savini's effects were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
People hadn't seen that shit. Dawn of the Dead in this movie helped start the 80s, like helped destroy the 80s. Like you knew where we were going from here. And then of course by the time you get to the 80s, it's completely bloodless. So what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Watching that though, you're kind of like, why does Kevin Bacon's neck look so thick in this scene? And you're like, oh wait.
Because now you
Hitting
see
the
it in
weights.
4K or
Yeah.
20K, and you can see everything. You can see the discoloration in the makeups.
Yeah.
But if I pop this VHS and it's on this table right here, you can't see all that stuff.
yeah.
You can't tell the difference. And the music was a brand new kind of like fucking vibe. It was big. It was robust. It was shocking. It was a stinger upon stinger. Just listening to the soundtrack. I could go on about why I love this movie, but I had to put it as number 4 on my list because the other ones I think are better movies.
Yeah.
But they're only better because you have to have this little landmark. You have to have like the speed bump, and you get over it, and it gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
That's where you want a franchise to go, though. You want it to constantly get better.
Yeah.
Because if it gets shittier and shittier, you end up with Halloween.
But then it gets better again.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then it got
I
worse.
thought Halloween Kills was good. Halloween Ends is even better. Okay. But that's my number 4.
Yeah, my number 3 is the first one.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's in none of our top. It's none of our top or none of our top
2.
Top 2. Yeah. I don't really need to say much more than what Steve just said. It's a giallo film. I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
It's not what you think of when you think of an 80s slasher, though.
It created the mold. You have the Joker, the guys are getting high, and then the hot chicks, and then it's like, you have all that, and then people just took that and made it better. Like they just ripped off other people, and the people that ripped off this movie made it improvements.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 1 didn't make improvements.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then we got to the
formula.
90s. Yeah. So yeah, I don't need to say anything else about this other than it was my number 3. It's still it's a very important movie in the franchise. Obviously, sets everything up, but it's very different than the others. Ace, what was your number 3?
My number 3, part 5. I got it up there real high.
Oh boy.
like I said, like I've mentioned, I watched this one a lot as a kid. This was always the most, like, it was hard. Like, if you ever went to a video store back in the day, it was hard to find the original. If there was a series of movies like this, it was hard to find the first at least one or two of any movie because they were either stolen by somebody or something. So, like, I always watched, like, 4 and 5 the most. But, yeah, part 5 for me, like I said, you got best boobs in the series. Like I put that on there a lot. I've said that a lot. I love Roy the paramedic. You got the iconic enchilada scene in the bathroom.
It's
like,
so good. Thank you for
baby, ooh baby, like all
Goddamn enchiladas.
goddamn enchiladas.
Hello,
like,
Pam.
like all that. It's got the humor, like the effects, the kill scenes.
I said I didn't mean it.
Yeah, like all that. And like him, I mean, really, if you're like one of those people who say they don't like this movie, then you don't like this series at all. Like, you just like go watch part 7, and just for the millionth time, and talk about how great the psychic is in part 7, and then those people that love part 7 hate part 5.
Right.
Oh, that's weird.
So you're saying, here's my final words.
Yeah, yeah,
What's more terrifying than getting killed on a porta potty?
yeah.
Oh, man.
It's super entertaining.
This
It's,
shit box is gross.
There's like tons of scenes of this movie that people talk about all the time, but like it's still like there's those like people out there who like watch Jason movie or Friday the 13th and like they're like, I hate that when it didn't even have him in it, and like, yeah, and one of the best Halloween movies didn't even have Michael Myers in it, so fuck off.
Checkmate, you fucker. You just- oh my God, where are we? We're
Number
on
3.
Number 3.
Number 3 is final chapter for me.
Just one off of each other each time.
Well, how about you and I combined?
All right, Crispin Glover's dancing.
Superpower.
Let's talk about that.
The dead fuck dance is a highlight in this entire franchise, and I thought that's why I liked part 5 is because you got Violet doing her own version of a dead fuck dance, but she's got more rhythm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot about her robot
That's
dancing.
just my opinion on that part 5. But part 4 it's everything that we're talking about. You're building up. Like part 2 is good, part 3 is good, part 4 is like the best in so many people's opinions when it comes to that first of the quadrilogy of the time. That's not even a word except for Alien created that bullshit.
Yes.
The quadrilogy.
The original series.
Yeah, and goddamn, bringing back Tom Savini, Joseph Zito, who did what did he do? The Prowler. It fucking rules, man.
The makeup, the effects, the fact that little Corey Feldman has his little monsters in his room. Like, you look at that and you're like, oh my God, look at all those masks and everything.
He's Tommy. His
Yeah.
name is Tommy. He's Tommy.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I mean, it's fucking Tom Savini. It's like he got to bring his own little toys and put them in his room and make his own little lifestyle. It's fucking amazing. And let's not forget to talk about how these first few movies start the next day. Boom. Boom,
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
He wakes up. He's still got the axe in the head. They take him to the morgue. Don't take off the mask. That'd make too much sense. Let's just put him on, cover him with a sheet, take him to the morgue, and then he's
Yeah.
gonna cause some havoc.
Yeah,
His
so,
nails
like-
grew longer.
Part 2. So yeah, part 2 is 1984.
Oh, you're gonna do the
Part 3 is the next day, and part 4 is the next night.
Yeah.
And then part 5 is 1989. Part 6 is 1990. Then 7's 97, 98. Then you get to Freddy vs. Jason, which is probably modern time at that time. And then you get to X, which is Frozen in 2010 and Unthawed in 2455. So I don't know how many other franchises start in 1958 and end in 2455. But
That's a long way
Well
to go.
done.
long
Well
timeline there.
Suck it, George R.R. Martin.
Yeah. Go ahead. We're both sucking each other's dicks right now.
No, is that what we're doing? So this movie had fun kills, but the most memorable, and I hate to skip directly to the end.
Do
but
it.
The end of the movie, I think, is the most memorable for a lot of people.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
Jason is going to get them. They're in the house, and fucking little Tommy comes out with that machete and he's already shaved his head like a psychopath.
I like to see him lock the bathroom door. It's like, I know there's a killer on the loose, and you probably could get in here and save yourself, but I gotta shave my head real quick.
I've got to have a complete and total mental fucking breakdown.
And a makeover.
He's like, my skull needs to get bigger somehow.
I need a Voorhees makeover.
And he just comes out, and just like the ending of the movie is just so like
Jason.
The ending of the movie is just so like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Die, Tommy, no!
Die.
That's supposed to go into your nightmares. And if you were a child and saw this, I guarantee you had that in your nightmares. I wish Rob would have lived longer. I like to have seen him in the other films. They kind of had Tommy grow up and be kind of Rob. Rob is the fucking He's the original Creighton Duke. I love that character, man. And watching him die, people have made fun of that scene, but if you watch it as an adult, it's like, it's fucking, he's like, he's killing me.
Yeah.
It's like, that's fucked up, man.
If they got rid of Creighton Duke and Jason in the final Friday and had Tommy Jarvis come back as like some kind of crazy bounty killer,
Right,
that
yeah.
would have been even better.
I want to see him. You think about it, when Tommy looks in part 6, he looks like he looks like Rob in part 4.
Yeah.
The cast is fucking great. It's got some great nudity. These movies are about violence and boobs.
And this movie gets it right.
It does.
They jump in that lake. When I was watching that as a kid, I was like, hey, look at there.
Well, when I was a kid, I watched Weird Science, and then I was like, man, she's hot as hell. And then here she is in part 4. I'm like, naked? Naked? I'm Tommy in that bed jumping around trying to put my head under a pillow because my mom's coming in, but I got a boner and I can't.
Got $1 for every time.
Oh my God. Should we move on? Are we having fun with this one?
I don't think we need to say much more. A lot of people have seen these movies and they're probably either screaming at us like, get it over with, or you're fucking wrong, or something by now.
I love it. Tell us we're wrong. And get in the comments and be like, what the fuck, you guys suck about this, or we agree with that. So what's
We're
your
going to my 2?
Yeah, you're number 2.
Part 4. This movie's great. Like everything y'all said. It's this is one I watched originally probably as a kid and then watched again as an adult, and I was like, this movie is really good. The end of it where he's like sliding down on the machete. That's a great kill. Also, the balls that the fact that they called this like the final chapter in part 4, like they weren't going to make even more movies.
Well, supposed to end there, right?
Like we're done.
That wasn't a cliffhanger.
They did that with the Final Friday. That was the last one.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
But yeah. So I like I just said, definitely like it's got that morgue scene.
There's so many good ones.
So many like
exercise music video.
Yeah. And the cast is great. I mean, there's so many people in the cast where you're like, hey, there's that person, there's that person, there's that person.
They're all from different movies or television shows you saw at the time.
Or at least I did. Little Corey Feldman with the his parents wouldn't let him shave his head for the movie, so they made him put on the bald cap because it was getting ready to be like TV season was coming
pilot
up.
season
Pilot season, and they were like, he can't have a bald head for pilot season.
Yeah,
so they made him put. That's the only drawback of this movie is his giant skull at the end of the movie, where it's like, why is your skin the same size as your hair?
Look at me, Jason.
But yeah, him screaming like die. Yeah, I love all that. This movie's amazing. Like, there's nothing about it I don't like.
It's the same cabin from Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. He comes through the
at Harley's cabin
windshield.
Yeah. It is. Well, no, the cabin that the kids stay in Pumpkinhead is the same cabin that the Jarvises are in this movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
The one where he crashing through that window, man. That's like just.
And they crash in this one too.
Yeah.
They crash out of it. He throws the double twin, the chewing gum twins.
Yeah.
Double mint twins. That's what they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
The window's replaceable.
This movie's great.
We've done it before.
It is. I always forget. Yeah, this is long. Okay, number 2. My number 2 is the 3D.
Huh.
And it used to be my number 1.
Oh.
But I think you know where my number 1 is now. I'm just saying. This movie is, I've said it many times on the podcast, it's the first one I saw. It has a place in my heart. This is the one that I could not fight the nostalgia. And then when I went back and watched it again this week, I'm like, it's still there. It's still fucking great. It did drop back a little bit because of the reasons I'm going to say why part 2 is my favorite. Obviously, I can't, it's not a surprise. Part 2 is my favorite. But part 3, I didn't get to see it in 3D until they released it on DVD in 3D. And I got the glasses and I go watch it. And it's like, well, looks like shit.
And you would have been able to see it in the theater if they had not duped us.
No, we were in the drive-in. And it was raining, so we had to stay inside the car.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was freezing cold. But this was the movie for me. I fucking love everything about this movie. Things that you didn't like, I still liked. I think all the characters are great. I love the way Larry Zerner gives us the mask. They did do that in the remake where the guy gets his throat slit and then he gets the mask, but they just could have made that way better in the remake. But everything about this movie is great. All the characters are fun. I love the biker gang that comes out of nowhere. It's like, is this your rubber? Like that whole scene, and then you have a character arc out of nowhere where he's like, he's the leader of the bad guys, and then at the end he's trying to save her. It didn't work out for him, but like those little things, like it's my favorite movie. It was until this week. Part 3.
So are we going to our number ones?
Number one.
Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah. Jason goes to find the girl that got away and takes his mother's head with him and puts it in her fridge. What kind of balling ass move is that?
Did he get on a bus?
Well, he can't drive. We have said that.
Jason hitchhike across the country. No, actually, apparently it's not that far from Crystal Lake, but it's far enough.
It's far enough, especially when you're carrying a severed head.
Yeah.
He probably didn't have a rucksack or anything.
Rucksack.
I want to see him with
stick and bindle.
Yeah, I want to see him that, but that's his mom's head in there, just buzzing around flies with his thumb out, with a bag on his head, being like, "What? I'm an Elephant Man fan."
No, man, I love this movie. It's got some great kills in it. The fact that it connects with the first one, like, oh shit, he's got his mother's head. Just the toward the end of the movie where she finds a sweater and she just fucking puts it on. She's like,
yeah,
it's me, honey. And he's like, oh shit, I guess it's the head's over there. What the fuck is this?
If she hadn't moved.
Yeah. But I really do like this movie. I think it's one of my favorite Jasons too, which is weird because it's the baghead. He doesn't have the iconic mask.
Yeah.
But I do like him because he's not an immortal being yet, right? He's still this backwoods
dude.
He's just this backwoods redneck.
It's Jason of the Corn.
Jason of the Corn.
He's got long hair.
Yeah. It falls out later.
I think that Amy Steele is my favorite. This is why this one went up. And Amy Steele is my all-time favorite final girl in this franchise. She doesn't do any wrong. Her character is introduced, and she's fucking with her boyfriend, who's also her boss. Like, from the time we meet her, she's a badass. She gets there late. She doesn't give a fuck. She's like, help me with my car. She blasts him in the face on purpose with her exhaust. I'm like, this is introduction to the girl who's going to kick his ass later on. And she doesn't really make a mistake. At the end of the movie where she's like, where Paul has to help her, that's all fucking illusion. Shit, that's not even true. Paul's dead. Like, people have finally figured it. Like, she's been talking about, like, there's no Paul. Like, once she hits him in the back of that fucking with that machete and stuff, like, it's awesome, dude. Yeah. She's my favorite final girl. This is one of my favorite Jasons. I love how he moves around. He's just a normal guy, but he's still stealthy. He can still hitchhike and do what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just some dude in overalls. He just pulls up the sack and be like, can I get a ride?
Steve Miner could make a good, this was his directorial debut until he did part 3. I mean, this is it. And then he did part 3. He just made a good movie. He made a good slasher movie. We know who the killer is, but it doesn't matter. You never still get to see his face till the end. And that's shocking enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my number one.
What's your number one?
Part 3, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, this movie from the very beginning where it kind of, and I kind of left this off some of them where it's like, they do that thing where it's like, previously on Friday the 13th. Like they tell you the story of what's happened.
Trying to catch you up.
Yeah. We're going to get you caught up on what's been going on here. But yeah, and then it starts that, and then you get that amazing theme in this movie, which is like they give you that disco theme whenever it starts playing, and the credits are in 3D, and it's like boom, 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 like going on. Dude, every Halloween, if I'm like handing out candy, I'm blasting that Friday the 13th Part 3 disco theme on the front porch, handing out candy to kids. Like it's like it sets up the movie so good. And like the rest of it, I don't care if it's like dumb 3D, like they're throwing a yo-yo in your face or something. Like the pole, like I don't even care.
When he squishes his head,
yeah. They shoot the thing. He's like on the dock, and they shoot it like it
the
comes
harpoon
straight
gun.
at you. The harpoon gun. Like,
come right for us. Huh.
Yeah, love it. Also, this is my favorite person to play Jason.
Yeah, Brooker rules.
Richard Brooker, like, God, he's just like a beast in this movie, and he's got like that big, thick neck.
He's got a hump.
And he's just like,
yeah.
He looks like a big, huge monster. And he's got like the fucking, like, looks like he just got done working at the plant. Like, he's got the fucking, like, button up shirt and the old pants on.
He just clocked out and, like, I'm clocking out here.
Well, yeah.
I'm clocking
I
in
love
the
that
woods.
scene at the corner store when he kills the couple. And he takes the clothes off the clothesline, but you see him in his Jason of the Corn outfit, and then he grabs the clothes. Next time you see him, he's in the costume that you see the rest of the fucking franchise pretty much.
Yeah.
Jumper. He upgraded.
Yeah, and like I want to see, like, I don't know if what it is, like in the early, they always had a barn in like in the older movies.
Yeah,
it's like I want to see, like, he's in the barn, he's like hanging, they hang him in the movie, and he's like sitting there, like, I love that. And then like
she's an awesome final girl.
He's like going down there, like floating down the river, and then you get his mom who comes back, and she's all rotted and like comes out of the river, and then does like part one, except it's his mom, and then she wakes up, but then like.
She's insane at the end,
dude. All that I love so much about this. When he takes his, like, she has the dream, he like takes his mask off and he just looks at her with his fucked up face, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, just everything about this movie I think is great, and this is definitely the one. Whenever I'm like, I want to watch a Friday the 13th movie, and if I hadn't just watched this one recently, I'll always pull out part 3 and watch it before any of the other ones. Like, this is where it really, like, they really cement themselves and make like a great. Like, we're going to make this is a franchise starter, like, as far as this film goes.
Which is wild when you think about it. They get to the third one, and they finally get going.
Yeah, the third one is the one where you're like, oh, man, this is like an icon now.
Yeah.
And not a lot of things can say that as far as, like, franchises go.
How many people you think own hockey masks because they love hockey?
No, nobody. Man, there's more.
I really want to be a goalie.
Yeah.
Name one goalie. Anybody out there? Name one. You can't do it, can you?
Oh my god. Well, there's going to be some hockey fans. This is supposed to. I think it was like a Red Wings hockey goalie mask or whatever. Is where Steve Miner grabbed that. He was like, "Hey, this looks cool." I can't remember the whole story of that, but it's iconic, and it helped start the craze of iconic masks.
Yeah,
like there have been Michael Myers mask, but then they fucked that up too. Like part 4. This is way before that, but still,
I'm just glad
fantastic movie.
I'm just glad that they weren't like, we got to keep this burlap sack on his head for the next like 7 movies or whatever.
This thing is gonna smell.
Yeah, it's like, get rid of the sack, get him something cool.
Halfway through production, they're like, we can't do this anymore. Fucking makeup's rubbing off.
Yeah, and he's a force to be reckoned with. He's running around. You actually hear him getting hurt.
Yeah,
but he doesn't give a fuck.
And the poster of that too is like where it's like the knife coming through the shower curtain, like straight at you. That's amazing. I love that poster. That's one of my favorite posters too. But
yeah,
that was my number 1, man. Part 3.
Well, I mean, we pretty much just rounded this up because he and I joined forces on part 2.
We were pretty close on a lot of them.
Yeah, next time we do one of these, I think we're just going to basically try to get it all together, and we have to agree on one list. But one thing, it won't take 3 hours.
Yeah, that's all right. The question I was going to ask is, if all the Jasons fought in an arena,
oh shit,
who would win?
It'd be Uber Jason.
Would it?
Well, let's see. The rest of them have to be crafty to outsmart Uber Jason because he's pretty much invulnerable. So then you've got who's the craftiest Jason besides Uber Jason?
They'd be from part 1 where he's just hiding in the lake. They're just out there not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, Uber Jason's just like, I know you're out here. I can't go in the lake because I'll sink.
He'll sink.
They're all scared of water.
They're all scared of water.
So he'll pull him under the water, and then the little kid wins from part 1.
That's not. I don't want Arya Lehman to fucking win. No,
he wasn't real. That was a hallucination. So you think
dude, seriously, my choice is Uber Jason. He's impenetrable. You actually could blow him. You can't blow him away. You can't hurt him. You have to pull him out in space. And none of the other Jasons could do that. We're not talking.
You can't throw him in space.
How is fucking Richard Brooker going to go? Me like, I got a great idea.
What if they all teamed up?
Come over here, Kane Hodder. We're gonna team up with the other Kane Hodder and inject Uber Kane Hodder into space.
Richard Brooker's neck's too big to get.
Yeah,
that's why they couldn't hang him.
He'd never be able to cut through that neck. And also, Jason Takes Manhattan would be over there catching his breath in the corner.
Remember when he talks? Remember when Jason Takes Manhattan talks? Mommy! He literally says that. And there's a deleted scene where it's a close-up of his mouth, and it's like the baby Jason hanging out of his mouth. Go back and watch that shit.
Mommy! Don't let me drown! Mommy!
Fuck Jason Takes Manhattan.
His little baby face, and he's like,
right.
like the water.
So that's a great argument, Steve. And I guess I can't really argue with Uber Jason.
Sure you can.
But
who's your favorite?
I mean, if in that scenario, say they're all evenly matched and they all have their weapon of choice, I'm going with. Well,
What's that big Bushmaster monster thing?
Yeah, you could do that, or I mean, part 2, even pitchfork, just push them away.
Jason goes to hell.
I'm fucking laser-proof, Dave.
Is he laser-proof stuff?
I don't know.
I would be Jason goes to hell because he would like throw up into your mouth and like
and possess you.
He'd possess you, and then he would be
He'd be Uber
both
Jason.
Uber Jason
What if he
and
could-
Jason from Friday.
What if he could spread his possession to different, like a little heart for you, a little heart for you, a little heart for you?
Man, these are such good arguments.
Yeah, except that whenever he turns into the heart, becomes that infant demon monster thing. That's whatever.
He's got the Kandarian knife?
Oh.
Can't be defeated.
You can't penetrate Uber Jason's chest with that, man.
Oh man,
No.
you all have just blown my mind that I don't even have an answer anymore.
Summons him. Final Friday.
No, I got it. Jason and Freddie. They're a tag team now.
Oh no.
And they're like, again, we'll go back to the wrestling analogy. They're like when Macho Man and Hulk Hogan teamed up.
Yeah,
Nobody could beat him.
yeah.
What you gonna do, brother?
Yeah, well, Uber Jason doesn't sleep, and all he's got to do is put a moat around me, and you can't come and get me because you're afraid of water.
But he can just throw Jason. He can throw Freddie at you. Anyways, all right, that's enough. That's enough of this hypothetical.
Oh my God!
Who
What a
would win.
weird list. Like I'm glad that we had like pretty close. Like our tastes are pretty close. There's definitely some ones on there that are going to piss some motherfuckers off, and that's fun. That's it's just our goofy opinion. I could have went the complete opposite way and just been nostalgic, and I would have had got drunk or got high and be like, this is my favorite. But I decided to go more hardcore, and those are my choices for a hardcore fan.
Well, that's good.
Let's get us out of here, Dave.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us in all these countries that I see listed on the board. You can listen to us where you're listening to us now. YouTube, Anchor FM, Breaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Apple Podcast, CastBox, Verbal.com, Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes in the woods, right, Steve?
I am Roy.
Right, Roy?
Oh, sorry, Roy. All right, anyways, we're getting out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bah.
Jesus. Oh, man. This is the Gore Club Podcast with Steve Vessell, Ace, and Deathmetal Dave.